everybody, this is Sean Speaks. I just want to share something that I want us to just kind of think about. Why are you waiting on God when you have authority to be God? The Bible said, "Ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High." The church indoctrinates us to believe in God as good and the devil as bad. Now, if you know me, when I talk about power opposites, I'm very clear to say that good and bad are not opposites. The opposite of good is not good. But let's just assume that the opposite of good is bad. And as we are taught in church, God is good and the devil is bad. And we interpret that to mean God and the devil are opposites. So if we think of God as fearless, then the devil would be God's opposite, not fearless. But on another hand, the church teaches us to live in a constant state of fear when we think we have to go to church every week. We think we have to pray every day. We think we have to pay tithes and offerings to be blessed. Or when something needs to change in our lives, instead of us taking immediate action to change it, we say things like, wait on God. Waiting on something is an expression of inability or lack of power to do something right now. Most times when you feel a lack of power over something, that feeling is based in fear. I used to would not miss a Sunday service because I truly was fearful that if I missed a Sunday, I would have a bad week. And church aided me in that belief. But is that living in fear or living in fearlessness? Is the church and religious practices helping me to become more like God or less like God? To become less fearful in my existence, I would need to polarize my emotional responses to being more anti-fearful. To become more godlike is to become more anti-fearful. Only you can determine if your religious practices help you become more anti-fearful or non-fearing or fearless in your life. When you tap more into your godlike creative power of fearlessness, you don't focus too much on wanting. Wanting is an expression of insufficiency. Wanting conceals the expressions of next level existence. Wants are red herrings that keep you from asking questions that elevate your life experiences. Let your wants be clues that new questions need to be asked in your life. If you have a life to live and you are not living it, or if you have a life that you want to live and you are not living it, don't focus on the wanting of it. That just tells you something is missing. Instead, focus on your inner resistance to living this new life. Ask yourself, why am I wanting something that is livable and attainable by me? What are my resistances to living this or having that? Is it my identity of who I think I am or who I think I am not? Is it my understanding of money? My interpretation of life as a barrier or others as barriers? Do I feel unworthy of such an experience? Am I walking wounded in life when I have the power to heal myself? What are my resistances to shedding my old way of being for a new way of being? As you observe and let go the resistances, the life that was once just a want emerges as your new living experience. And you realize there was never anything to want, just a new identity to assume. This is what church should be teaching, in my opinion. This is becoming more like the archetype God many religious people seek, but tend to never find. And this elevation of living is open to us all. So wanting is not just a statement of insufficiency, it's an indication of resistance to new levels of existence that have come within your mind's eye about yourself. Next time you have a want, acknowledge what you want, but only as an indicator that a higher existence of living is available to you. And in order for you to experience that higher existence, you don't have to beg or plead. You only have to become more aware of your resistances to that existence of living so you can let the resistances go. It's like the Kanye situation. He desired more autonomy and wanted more authority over his life, his business ideas, his designs. But he didn't realize that he had trapped himself in a powerless situation and that he was trapped in fear through his business relationship with Adidas. And trying to scale up his own emotions of desire and fear to courage and enlightenment, others became offended by this show of power, and they used their power to try and crush him. But because Kanye used his spiritual practices and beliefs to polarize himself more toward his non-fearing power of existence instead of his fearing power, he discovered a freedom in his existence that he wasn't aware was possible for him. The Kanye that we see now is a man shedding resistances that have been keeping him from his next level of existence that he didn't even know he could have at first. It's the letting go of the resistances that can bring light to darkness, that replaces your fears to live with your God power to exist in whatever new spaces of possibilities you have courage to bring into your mind's eye as possible for you. So on one hand, church teaches you the power of God, but on another hand, it does not. It teaches that this God power is outside of you, despite clear scriptural evidence that says God is within you. And if ye are God's, then we have to begin to ask ourselves, why are we stuck in a routine of living that breeds dependence, lack of power, fear, pride, that keeps us stuck in lower levels of our own emotions like apathy, that don't have the power and energy enough to produce change in our lives? Staying emotionally apathetic will have you constantly saying things like, oh, well, it won't do any good anyway. They're too powerful now. It's too hard to change. I'm too tired. I'm too old. Why are we so willing to stay a walking, wounded people? This is Sean Speaks. And remember, brain health is mental wealth.